Bob Mackey, the senior editor at US Gamer, one of a few, and I'm here today to stream EarthBound, a great Super Nintendo game from 1995, released in 1994 in Japan, one of my favorite games. And I'm just going to get started with a quick mini, not a playthrough really, just a quick taste of the intro, maybe explore a little bit of the first town, give you a taste of what this game has to offer. And I will be dispensing lots of trivia because I just did an insane amount of research on EarthBound for the Retronauts podcast EarthBound episode, which is roughly 90 plus minutes of just pure EarthBound nostalgia and trivia and all kinds of... If you like EarthBound, you'll like that episode. So let's get started, and I will let you people in the chat name the characters, although there is a bit of a delay. I will suffer through it. Please, nothing dirty. This is a stream for work, so I don't want to get in trouble. And no, you cannot name anyone Benghazi. So let's go with strawberry flavor for that nice pink effect. So I'm gonna take all of these names from the chat, so please type them in. Make sure you type in which character you want me to name. The name you're giving me. So I got Isaac for Jeff. We'll do that. I'm basically first come first serve because I don't want to sit here looking at chat for the next 5 minutes. So please get in your No Harambe. Name one of them Narf. I need an actual character name. Ness. Name him Jazz. Okay. So I already have Jazz. I assume you mean Jazz Rignall, our super boss. I don't forget what Jazz's title is. Jazz is like he's a Jazz of all trades. So these are all people on US Gamer. Okay. Please name her. Okay, this will be Nadia. Please enjoy the music. Let me know if the music is loud enough for you to hear because I don't want you to miss the music. Definitely. There's so much great music in this game. I love this track especially. It's just so catchy and weird. And playing this game for the first time, it really gave me a taste of what this game was going to offer. Like, oh, I know what I'm in for. This game is going to be fun and weird. Pooh is Garfield. I can be Pooh if I want. Well, thank you. Okay, this will be Jeremy. Although we cannot fit Jeremy in... We're never going to get to Jeremy or Nadia. Some people I know call him Jeremy. So we'll go for that. While I'm naming these other characters, please tell me what the favorite food and favorite thing should be, and I will put those in there. So this will be me. So if you're watching, please let me know what the favorite food and favorite thing should be. And the dog, too. I forgot about the dog. Bob. Tacos. Okay, so we got tacos for food. T-Frog. Okay, I do need a pet name. Homer. Okay. It is weird. I think your dog gets one more character than your humans for some reason. You can give him one more character. Although, yeah, five is the limit for the humans. I'm sure that works. That does work much better in Japanese when each character is a different syllable. But I'm lucky I grew up being named Bob, so naming myself in an RPG was never an issue. Tacos, and this will all pay off. What's your favorite thing? I'm gonna put this one in. Oops. This one's mine, people. Here we go. As a member of the Games Press, my favorite thing is ethics. What is the voice sample used in this song? Okdeska? Is that what you mean? When, that's the actual creator of this series, Shigesato Itoi. Okdeska means, is that okay? So that's all of us. And we're going to keep going. Great intro to EarthBound. One of the most memorable intros to a video game. I just love the spooky town at night. Very, very evocative, very atmospheric. Really grabs you from the beginning. And I mean, this is not a scary game, but I mean, if you're playing it as a kid and you're identifying with these kids on the screen, you can imagine yourself out at night, looking for your friend's little brother, you know, hearing strange noises, hearing sirens in the distance. It is a very, very spooky game in this opening. Jazz's house. So we have another little touch I like. It's Ness's bedhead. Just a cute little touch on the character. We don't really see this version of Ness that often. And his pajamas. We see that in Magic Hand later in the game, when he's actually nude in the Japanese version. It feels like there should be a door here, doesn't it? So this is our sister Tracy. I'm gonna immediately steal this. So I got my first weapon. And I'll talk to Tracy. That's right, in the first game you have to go to the basement and you fight things. I believe that the first game opens up almost the same way, except you don't go out to investigate anything. You actually fight a lamp in your house, or maybe it's a doll. Something like that. It's either a lamp or a doll. There's my mom. I think if you, I should have actually tried to leave without talking to her, because I think she'll stop you at the door and she'll be like, you know, at least change your clothes if you're going to go out. Arsenio probably was still on in 1995. So our first trip out of the house, I don't think there isn't any combat. It's only later when Pokey comes back to get you that you actually fight enemies. But this is just kind of exploring, getting used to this little chunk of Onett you can explore. So, as always with EarthBound, the flavor text is great. Well, that's not very funny, but I mean, it's totally worth talking to everybody. It's totally worth you know, reading every sign, looking at the item descriptions if there are any. Not every item has a description in this game. That wasn't like really set in stone for RPGs yet. I think I'm playing this on an emulator, and this is the first time I'm really seeing these sprites up close. I guess maybe the Wii U version might fuzz them out a little bit, but I just noticed that this character is wearing glasses, and I didn't notice that before. I assume those were his eyes, but if you look, he turns to the side, there's glasses, so weird. Never noticed that. I love how tacky the Munch House is. I think that's their last name. Pokey and Picky. In the Japanese version, Pokey is named Porky, and I kind of prefer Pokey as the localization change. I think Porky is a little too on the nose. Like, yeah, he is a fat kid. I get it. And this game is pretty unique in that it is sort of like the pure vision of a solitary writer, Shigesato Itoi. He basically was a copywriter in Japan, a very famous one. He was an essayist. He pretty much did it all, but he was very, very famous for creating like evocative slogans for products and campaigns and things like that. And people credit that to why the dialogue in EarthBound is so good, because he's very good at being pithy and saying meaningful things without saying too many words. So that's the kind of spirit this game has to it. The spirit of sharp, concise writing, very, very witty, very dry. It's kind of like a dry absurdity. I guess, yeah, that's how it's kind of like Police Squad, I think, or Naked Gun. Just like very absurd things are happening, but characters are taking them at face value and reacting in a very deadpan manner. So Angro Rider says Porky is an important name considering the events of Mother 3. I did play through Mother 3, but that was 8 years ago, so I'm not sure what significance the name Porky has that Pokey could not accomplish as a replacement. So, is Tucson a take on the town where I currently live, Tucson? I'm sure it is. It's also part of the kind of silly pun naming system of the first 4 towns. So you have Onett, which has the word 1 in it, Tucson, which has 2 in it, Threed, which has 3 in it, of course, and Foreside, which has 4. So those are all the towns in Eagle Land, which is essentially America. The other, there's like Scaraba, Winters, Summers, Dalam, those are just kind of unique, but the naming scheme of the towns, at least, is like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, right, Porky does run the Pig Army, but I think it's okay if Pokey runs the Pig Army. I mean, he's kind of just like a chubby fascist, so you don't necessarily need to be named after a pig to have a Pig Army. Onett. You know what? It's one of those cases, Anger Rider is saying, I thought Onett was pronounced Onett. It could be. This is a game that, happened before voice acting, and, well, voice acting was going on, but this game has no voice acting, so when it's a game without voice acting and it's a made-up word, your guess is as good as mine. I actually did a podcast on Ocarina of Time, whatever you want to say, and someone commented that they got so mad at me mispronouncing things that they turned off the podcast, and I was like, but no one actually says the name of things in Ocarina of Time, so how can you get mad? There's no official, like, on-the-record pronunciation, at least within the context of that game. So, yeah, I feel like it's whatever makes you happy, as long as there's no official on-the-record, like, no, this is how you say it. So I encourage everybody to go to Legends of Localization. Just type that in your Google or search engine, Legends of Localization. The guy there, Clyde Mandelin, and his wife Heidi Mandelin, they do a lot of, they look at localizations of existing games like this and see how they differ from the source material. And EarthBound is incredibly faithful to the spirit, but it also does a great job of translating puns. And you'll see one of these puns here. Maybe not one of the better ones. So liar X aggregates house. So basically saying he's an exaggerating liar. That's just a takeoff on the Japanese name, which meant a similar thing, but this is sort of like the way to interpret this joke in English. So they worked very hard to make all of these jokes work in another language. Especially if you look at what the original jokes were, you'll be impressed by how they didn't just write a completely new thing, how they tried to translate the spirit of that joke, or the spirit of the pun. Yep, Liar and the Mani Mani statue make an appearance later. It's hinted at very early. When you come back to him after this nighttime scene, I think he shows you the Mani Mani statue, and that's a key item that'll pop up like midway through the game. And talking to cops. Let's see what happens if I tell the cop I'm not his friend. It's like, you at least live next to this idiot. Get him out of here. Alright, let's talk to him. So you really only have to talk to Pokey and then walk home. There's no combat during this part. It's really just to get you familiar with the layout of this little area and get you used to the controls, as complex as they are. I always loved that EarthBound had diagonals. It makes sense because they kind of portray things from a slightly isometric point of view. It's not quite as top-down as a Final Fantasy. I love the art style. It was really poo-pooed at the time, like, this game looks simple. But really, it had the misfortune of coming out in America at a time where things were edgy and raw, and metal was twisted, and, you know, FMV games were all the rage. So, like, having something with a fairly simple but interesting art style was just like, what is this trash? So it took a while for people to understand what EarthBound was and appreciate it for what it was trying to do. Really, I think the true measure of any game will come out years after the actual release. It's really hard to judge just how, you know, great a game will be at the time. I think you need to give it a few years. So let's talk to our mom. No. And I got this game on its release date in 1995. There was no formal reservation process at the Software Etc. that I reserved it at. That still exists, amazingly, 20 years later with the exact same carpet. I just, you know, said I wanted the game. They wrote my name down on a post-it note behind the counter, and when it came in, they called me. And I was ready, man. I was ready with $72.99. That's how much this game cost in 1995. $73. That is ludicrous. But I played it probably 6 times that summer. Played it through 6 times. Fell in love with it. Let all my friends play it. I think all my friends loved this game and they weren't even into RPGs. I love Pokey's Knock. I like how it starts off like patient and then gradually gets less and less patient. Yeah, $73. I mean, your money went a lot further in the 90s. If you were alive in the 90s, you'd probably know that. Adjusting for inflation, that would probably be like, oh, that would definitely be over $100 today. Probably like $120, something like that. I guess these days your money doesn't go as far, but at the same time, entertainment has never been cheaper. So there's a nice trade-off there. Get this poor dog some help. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I mean, games have only gotten more expensive to make. I assume a modern game, a modern RPG would probably cost like 10 times what EarthBound cost to make. Yet it's probably like in terms of pure price, it probably costs like 60% of what EarthBound cost when it came out, or less actually. So, yeah, it is strange. Supply and demand, all that economic stuff I don't get. I was an English major, so you guys can explain it to me. I love all the dialogue in this game. I love the localization. I love little phrases stand out to me, like they were really going wild talking about the gang members. I love saying no to Pokey. If you refuse me, I'll insult you in front of your mother. I'm not surprised the sharks are what the gang is called. This game is a lot of references to when the creators grew up, like in the 50s and 60s. This is very much a kind of like a boomer, baby boomer nostalgia piece. Like people reaching their 30s and 40s looking back on the things from America that they liked and enjoyed, and sort of making a game out of that. Gambare! I love this music too. Basically, all the music in EarthBound's great. There's so much of it. It takes up literally 1/3 of the cartridge space is music. It's a 24 megabit game. I believe 8 megabits is just pure music data because this game, like all Super Nintendo games, it builds its soundtrack out of samples, and this game has so many unique samples. It's not just using your generic sound font or your generic sample library. It's pulling from different sources, some of them popular songs like from the Beatles and Rick Ocasek and things like that. So they really, really spent a lot of time on the music. Music is by Keiichi Suzuki and Hip Tanaka. Hip Tanaka you might know from things like Dr. Mario, Metroid, Kid Icarus, things like that. And an RPG soundtrack is not his normal thing, which is why the soundtrack is so good. It's just so unorthodox. It's not traditional RPG music. I love the dog. You only get the dog in this brief intro section, which is why I was always slightly annoyed. Like, I have to name the dog, but I barely get to hang out with the dog. A small complaint for EarthBound. Yes, EarthBound was originally going to be an 8 megabit game. It became a 24 megabit game, and after the fact, 8 megabits was the entire. Sorry, 8 megabits is what the music took up on the cartridge. And that was originally intended to be the entire game, 8 megabits, but clearly this game expanded in ways, and it sort of had went through a sort of development hell, where Satoru Iwata, the late former Nintendo president, was basically helicoptered in to fix this game, and he fixed it in a year. Otherwise, it probably would never have been released. I think he just basically reprogrammed it from scratch. I'm sure people helped him, of course, but he was just a technological wizard. He just was so good at programming. So your dad is like Itoi's dad, the creator's dad, and like many of the children in post-war Japan, their fathers were, enveloped in the booming post-war economy when Japan was becoming more westernized, when, the country was rebuilding, and fathers just weren't around that much because they were a part of that effort. So a lot of this is the baby boomers thinking about their own fathers, how they were gone, and that kind of culture that is not just strictly Japanese. But, I mean, a lot of it can be chalked up to, the Japanese salaryman culture and things like that. But I feel like this is really just a post-war reflection of, like, just where your parents were. So now we're going to fight. All these early fights are pretty easy because you don't have a lot of options here. I don't have any magic spells, PSI spells. My only goods I can use are healing, and so it's just like bashing snakes and bashing dogs. Luckily Homer, or I forget what is his canonical name. I should know this. For some reason I forget the dog's canonical name. I feel really bad. King. It's King. That's right. For some reason, King is a pretty strong pup in this early section, even though your mom was like, he kind of sucks, but take him with you. He can at least absorb some hits from all the stray dogs in the neighborhood. So this game was developed by Ape, which was a sort of kind of like a development house put together just to make this game, and Ape eventually became Creatures Inc., which I believe handles the God, Creatures Inc. I just talked about this not too long ago on Retronauts. I think Creatures Inc. handles the non-mainline Pokemon games, maybe? Like board games and spin-offs and things like that. So a lot of the programmers for this went on to Creatures Inc. The director of this game, which is not Itoi, he directed the first Pokemon card game for Game Boy. So you can see where these people ended up. Oh, so I'm guessing it was a king named after a Neil Young song? I'm guessing yes. So Pokey is very bossy. You can always go home and eat tacos. I can show you that. This is just a, if you need to grind, you don't really have to. Sometimes enemies can get in critical hits, and it's not cool, but if you want to just fight a few enemies and then run back home to heal, that's always possible. And I wonder if we're going to get the good EarthBound song if we go back home. I'm afraid he's going to kill me. Such great music. Okay, so the backgrounds, the trippy battle backgrounds, great, such great effects with limited technology. Basically, it was one guy at Ape who did all of these himself. It was like one guy, that was his only job, was to make these weird battle backgrounds, and they're also great. I love them. It gives something more to a static battle. You know, there's something happening in there. I mean, they could have animated the sprites, that would have been great, but I do like the battle backgrounds moving. It's a cool touch. We don't get the heartwarming music, I'm sorry. Why don't you have some tacos? So we're gonna keep on moving. As I said, we're gonna play through this prologue. It's about an hour, I think. Yes, the battle backgrounds with the PSI effects on top of them are really cool and trippy. This game is really steeped in the psychedelia, however you say that, of the 60s and the 70s, when the creators and the people who work in this game were young adults. So they might not have had the drugs themselves in Japan, but they had the music and the art and the movies and everything else that was inspired by that kind of drug culture. So it is an interesting filtration of that kind of media through a Japanese lens, and I find it really fascinating. Yes, the mom does hate Pokey, as everyone should. So, Rubik's Cube wants to know, why does American NES and Smash Brothers shout PK Fire and not PSI Fire? Well, PK is the name of the psychokinetic abilities in Japan, in the Japanese version, and I guess they just didn't want to record new dialogue for that character, so they just stick with the Japanese terminology. Oh, baby. I got a huge boost in maximum hit points. You get lucky sometimes. I love the sound design in this game. Getting a smash attack, that great like crackling sound that travels from one stereo side to the next, really cool. Getting to play this game in stereo again on the Wii U was a treat. Sorry, in stereo for the first time. Previously, all the times I played EarthBound were on like an old TV, an old mono TV. But only when I played it on my Wii U in 2013 did I realize, like, wow, the stereo separation on this game is great. It makes the music sound better, the sound effects are actually moving across the screen, the PSI effects are really great in stereo. Like, I didn't realize how much, like, stereo effects were a part of this game. I like the Smash character reveals more than playing Smash Brothers at this point. I played too much of Melee. I can't go back, I'm sorry. My man's man. So there's Picky, of course, sleeping with his Beatles haircut. Pokey cannot close his mouth. I don't know why. So King goes home, or I figure Homer goes home. And that's the only time we get to have the dog in our party for that, like, 10-minute stretch. What a bummer. What a bummer. Maybe they had different plans. So the meteorite looks like a pizza. Does the GBA Earthbound fan translation and base game stand up to this game? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean Mother 3? That fan translation? Everyone's like scoring points off of Pokey. Picky was like, well, I'm glad you're okay, Ness. Picky abandoned me. Sorry, Pokey abandoned me. Damn. Pokey. Go home, Pokey, you're drunk. Yes, it came out. There was a 2008 fan translation of Mother 3. My thoughts on Mother 3, you can listen to them on that podcast, Retronauts. Retronauts episode 69. You can listen to a ton of Earthbound facts, 90 minutes of Earthbound love. Mother 3, I don't think it's as strong of an experience, but again, it's really hard to detach myself from this game. I have a really close connection to it. I think in terms of what it's trying to do, I think it's a much better game in terms of the play. The battle system is really cool. It tells one cohesive story instead of just sort of like a piecemeal vignette kind of story. It's its own thing, but I think it's very worthwhile, and I'm super glad it exists. And it's definitely a much sadder, much more melancholy game than this. It's a very dark and depressing game with some really horrible tragedies happening in it. Yeah, if you want to listen to that Retronauts episode, like I said, it's Retronauts episode 69. You can find that at retronauts.com or usgamer.net. That will let you in on all the Earthbound secrets, and you can always listen to that podcast for all of your video game trivia needs, because we have been doing it for almost 10 years now. So we get our BS RPG prophecy, of course, which doesn't really matter that much. Just like, collect the things to fight the great evil. You've done this before in an RPG. It's really just a, ooh, the Triforce. It's really just an excuse to get you to go to different places and do different things. It's sort of like a sketch comedy kind of a game where every couple hours you're doing a completely different thing in a completely different place. So we have Buzz in our party, who will stay in our party for as long as the dog did, although Buzz is a super powerful party member. I think they just put him in your party to get you back to Ness's house as soon as possible. It just helps you really speed through enemies. So as always, Pokey is a coward. And we should see some of Buzz's strong attacks as we head back down this little cliffside. Ah, the Earthbound creepy sting. Let's hear that again. So I guess I could have been mistaken, but I could have sworn that you actually fight enemies on your way down. I'm gonna, oh, there we go. I'll fight at least this enemy. I love this weird looping music here. It's very Metroid-y. So there's a Starman. He was waiting in the sky, but now he's coming here to blow our minds. And this is sort of like a battle you can't lose because Buzz protects you. This enemy is way stronger than you can possibly fight. You fight them much later in the game on your own, but he's here from the future to basically kill you and Buzz. Stop Buzz from you know, trying to overthrow Gigas's plan or Gygas's plan, however you say it. Again, there's no right way to say these things. So thanks to the Psychic Shield, we are not affected by his attacks. And Buzz will just keep us safe and actually fight during this battle, so we're just here for the show, I guess. See, he's pretty strong. Gary Gygax. So all of these abilities you're seeing, you will get later in the game. It's a nice little preview of what psychic powers are and what they can do and how to negate them. But again, we can't really do much during this battle. So, there we go. I think we get a lot of experience points for this, too. Nope, just 16. Haha, never mind. Woo! Yeah, I think the visual reference to Starman is a Day the Earth Stood Still reference, but I believe the name definitely is a David Bowie. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But it has to be a David Bowie reference. So we're gonna meet Pokey and Picky's really crappy parents. We can see why these kids turned out the way they did. I hope there's hope for. I think there's hope for little Picky, but Pokey he's been tainted. It's over for him. We're gonna see the dark path he follows throughout Mother 2, which is what this game is called in Japan, and Mother 3, which is the sequel. Pokey is the connective tissue between those two games. They're largely unrelated, though. Where in Sam Hill? What a nice little expression. So, watch this scene. So what happens is the dad apparently slams the door after he chases the boys up. In the Japanese version, you can hear him spanking them. So that's something they cut out for this version. So there's some child abuse happening in this household. It's not a very happy place. It may have been $100,000 or more. Wow. And this music is so great. I love, just breaks down into like a weird circus theme for a few seconds. Just very chaotic. Yes, there is a Diamond Dogs reference in this game. Very good. I didn't know a whole lot about Bowie until fairly recently, so only within the past 5 or 10 years did I realize Diamond Dogs was a Bowie thing. And then, of course, Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, and you're frigging named the Diamond Dogs, so yeah. Lots of Bowie stuff in Metal Gear Solid 5. It's kind of strange that game came out like 6 months before Bowie actually died. Uh-oh, some drama's happening. So I'm gonna leave Buzz on the floor and visit my friends, see if they're okay. I think in the Japanese version too, Pokey does talk about getting spanked. So the game won't let us leave, or it won't let us walk past Buzz. I was gonna see if I thought that if you walked to the door, it would stop you, but I guess you just can't walk past him. I like how they're hanging a lampshade on this, like, I'm gonna die, but I could give you this tutorial one more time. Where were Pokey's parents, by the way? That they were out until almost dawn. No, he's not. Nag, nag, nag. So we're gonna go outside again. Really, really great opening to this game. I love this right here when you come outside. I love that shift from night to day, and now your adventure is truly started. They let the reins off or cut the leash, and now you can go explore Onett. I do want to go home real quick. Oh, who could forget Fuzzy Pickle Guy? Now, the photographer, throughout the game, he will take pictures of you and your party in different places. There's some places you can miss him, actually. But at the end of the game, you will see all the pictures he took of you. It's pretty cool. Yay! And one of my favorite songs is in Ness's house whenever you go back. It's a very heartwarming song. And I believe it is... No, it's definitely a Mother 1 remix song. So it's a song from the first game, slowed down a lot, made a lot more heartwarming. It's called Pollyanna in the original game. And I believe it is the world map theme in the beginning, so... This game is meant to evoke, this song is meant to evoke, nostalgia for EarthBound. The original EarthBound, rather. EarthBound 0, EarthBound Beginnings, Mother 1, whatever you want to call it, which came out 5 years ago. So, coming home, this song is meant to make you think about, like, oh, I remember playing Mother 1 5 years ago. I was younger then. Maybe a lot has changed in my life. I don't know. I could be overthinking this, but I don't think so. This part of the song is great, by the way. That organ bridge, that does sound gross, organ bridge, but it is so soothing, it gives me goosebumps. I love it. Yes, Pollyanna, or I Believe in You, and there is a... I'm gonna put great in quotes because I think it's great, but you probably won't. There's a great Mother 1 vocal album, which essentially takes all of the Mother 1 music and turns them into full songs with lyrics. They're very corny, they're very, like, Disney-ish, but they're also very sincere and heartfelt. And if you're in a crappy mood or you need something to pep you up, they are just great songs to listen to. Just don't listen to them in public or else people will scorn you. So yeah, while this song is playing, I am thinking of the lyrics on that Japanese vocal album. And all the lyrics are in English, I should say. They got a British performer, a young girl, to do all the lyrics. I don't know if she wrote them, but she sang them all. So now we're free. We don't have much time left. I can at least go to a few highlights. I'm not very strong yet, and I don't want to die. Not that there's a real punishment for dying, but as you can see, Onett has a real stray dog problem. Yeah, so one of our chat people is reminding me I did an entire EarthBound about... Sorry, I did an entire episode of Retronauts Micro about EarthBound Beginnings, Mother 1, EarthBound 0, whatever you want to call it. That's also in the archives if you want to find it. I talk about the soundtrack, I talk about the vocal album. I have clips of the vocal album in that episode if you want to hear it. But the vocal album has just been on YouTube forever, so if you want to look up Mother 1 vocal album, it's there for you. No one's going to wag their finger if you listen to an out-of-print Japanese CD from 25 years ago. So I say have at it, folks. So I am totally creaming enemies right now. And I don't have a map yet, so let's get a map. I only have about 5 minutes left in this stream, but if you have any other questions, let me know. I know this game so well, and I love it so much. So now I get a nice map! And there's a very, very nice map like this for every place you visit. Just shows you where everything is. One thing about this game and the previous game is that Itoi, the creator, did not like the idea of world maps, where the scale of the game changed and you're sort of like, you stumble into an icon and then all of a sudden you're in a town. He wanted everything to be the scale, to sort of give you an impression of a big adventure and not, you know, abstract anything. So that's why these games are built like this. And of course, I can go to this, oops. Did you ever return your map to the library when you were done? I did. I think if you come back, so when the game ends, you basically can go through the entire world and talk to everybody. They all have something new to say, which is one of the best rewards for beating a game ever. Especially when the dialogue is so good. But I believe this lady's like, no, just keep the map, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Look at that, everybody! This map is 15 years overdue! That's what I wanted to see, 2001. What a fantastical year, everybody, 2001. That will never happen. I was getting some slowdown over here, which is a flaw of the original hardware, but there we go. Treehouse. I think one of the guys in here has a crush on you, or has a man crush on you. See? It's all very cute. You know what I mean. I played this game so much that I know which items have descriptions. Not all of them do. Most of them will be like, this is what this item is and here's what it does. Some of them have a little bit of flavor text, so you can look at Mr. Baseball Cap. So it's not even a joke, but it's just a nice little bit of detail that doesn't need to be there. And this hat actually has a lot of defense power at a time when you really, really need it. So, see, that brings you up to 8, which is really good. Butterflies, they give you 10 PP, har har. But I actually don't have any spells yet, so I can't use my PP. That's right, I said I can't use my PP. Deal with it, America. Hamburgers are great, and they're super great, super useful healing item early in the game. And of course we have our twangy shop music. I'm just gonna wander around for a few minutes before I end the stream. Thanks for joining me, by the way. Again, I like how dense these towns are, even though you can't actually enter a lot of the buildings. And sometimes a house will just have one person inside who won't say anything interesting, but it'll at least be like a funny joke or a little aside. Instead of interesting, I should have said useful. They won't tell you anything useful for your journey. It'll just be like, here's a weird joke, or here's an observation. So I do want to show this off. I don't have enough money to buy it, but you can buy this house, and it's very, very shitty inside. And for spending that money, you actually get to read a short story that's hidden in a it's hidden in a drawer inside of this house. That's your reward for buying this house. It's a weird little touch but I always buy the house when I play the game. Not this early though, much later in the game when $7,500 is not a huge asking price. Very nice water. I like it. But I think that's it for this stream, everybody. Thank you for watching EarthBound. I'm sure some of you are familiar with it. Hopefully you learned something. And again, please check out that Retronauts episode 69, and you will learn everything about this series and tons of stuff about EarthBound in general. So yeah, I've been Bob Mackey, Senior Editor for US Gamer. Find me on Twitter as Bob Servo. Also check out my other podcast, Talking Simpsons, every Wednesday at lasertimepodcast.com. Every episode, we tackle a new episode of The Simpsons in chronological order. As of this recording, we are in Season 4, and it's just getting better and better and more fun, and the episodes are getting longer and longer, and I can't wait to do more of Season 4. So yeah, hopefully I will see you again soon on another stream, but until then, have a good day, and please play EarthBound. It's just a great game, everybody. Have a good one.